gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
Oh! No, bitch! Girl! Oh, no, girl! Oh, no!
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
How y'all doing, bitches? Yeah. Welcome to another brand new episode of the Kris Avalon Show.
Unfiltered, filter.
Hello. What's going on, my youth? Welcome to a brand new episode of Kris Avalon Unfiltered. Did you miss me, bitches? Because I'm back. I know it's been a minute, gone for a minute, but back on that jump off, as my girl Little Kim once said, on one of her hits, the jump off. If y'all ain't know, now you know. Anyway, yeah, it's been a while. We took a week off. And then I know I said I was going to be on 6 o'clock, but there was some technical difficulties. So we're here. We're in the building. We are good to go. And let me move over because y'all can see my yeah, I'm in the bed. I'm in the boudoir, bitch. You can kind of see my laundry in the background. So I was trying to not have it exposed. But anyway, child, it is what it is. But anyway, how y'all doing? Welcome to the show. We got a lot to talk about today, including we got this tea on Ricky Martin. When I read that yesterday, I gagged, but I had heard this about a couple of weeks ago, so we're going to break that story down and my thoughts on that. Plus, Menudo is trying to make a comeback. We're going to talk about that because I saw the documentary, the 4-part one, and we got to talk because I don't know how I feel about that. Also, we got some tea on Wendy Williams. I know. Oh, we turn that music down a little bit. Thank you. Okay. So here's the gag. I'm sick of talking about Wendy Williams. She get on my damn nerves with all this buffoonery, but it just be so much coming out in regards of what's going on with Wendy. It's just like it's an unavoidable situation. So we gotta just talk about it, break it on down. Kelvin is talking, Nick Cannon's talking, Wendy's talking, Nortman is talking, everybody talking. So we gotta talk. Okay. Also, what else? So, we got some Real Housewives news. There's a lot going on with the Real Housewives. Yeah, there's a lot of tea going on in regards of the Real Housewives. We got to talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in a recent episode with Erica cursing out, or cursing at, Garcelle's 14-year-old son, and how there were idiots from that show who were laughing at the fact that Erica, who should be thrown under the jail, quiet as it's kept, because I do believe the bitch is guilty, they're excusing her behavior. So I'm gonna read them bitches when we get to that topic. Also, Portia got a new gig. She coming back to the Housewives. We got some tea on that. Plus, there's some rumors going on in regards. Oh, we got a most viral post. Oh, well, we're gonna find out what that is in a second. Also, yeah, Portia got a gig. She coming back to the Housewives. I'll let you know on what Housewives show, if it's Atlanta, if it's something else. Oh yeah, we basically got, our most viral posts and stuff. This is what's going on right now. So yeah, Ricky Martin, Wendy Williams, Leah Michelle. Yeah, she is coming back to Broadway. It's a little messy. The funny thing is, I feel like with what's going on with Wendy, I need to kind of pair the whole behind the scenes debacle. You know what? I'm gonna do that. So last minute executive decision. This is live. So I think right after this Wendy story, we need to go into this whole Leah Michelle Broadway story, because I kind of look at this as both stories are kind of similar in the way that producers went about removing one artist to bring in another. Because this whole Beanie Feldstein situation was going on with her and all that stuff behind the scenes and things I had heard since the beginning of the show, where they should have fired her from the beginning because she wasn't that good of a singer to begin with, but she got the job because of nepotism, because one of her relatives, or I believe two of them, a couple of them, I believe she has a relative that is a producer on the show, so that's how she got the gig. But Miss Thing didn't have those chops to be able to get, she is no Patti LuPone. She is no Idina Menzel. She's not even Oh my God. Bernadette Peters. Yeah, I know my Broadway bitch. She ain't even giving me old girl Evangeline from One Life to Live. Yeah, she was in Broadway too. You know, if you wasn't doing soap, she was doing the Broadway. But yeah, we're going to break that whole situation down and how people are upset because of Lea Michelle's past as being a nightmare when she was on the come up with Glee, how she getting this gig. But we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. And we got some good LGBT news. But in the meantime, let me shut up and get right to these topics. So the first topic I want to get to before we get to the main topics, we got to talk about Thor. So Thor Love and Thunder came out last week. And I had never seen it in 4D, which is like when you got like the 3 screens. So you got one screen and you got like the screens on they actually show on the sides of the wall. So like when you get to see certain special effects and all this other stuff, they kind of pretty much had that up in there with the movie. So I went to go see it because I'd never seen it in that way before, but I had to go to the Regal because AMC don't have that. All they got is Dolby and fucking IMAX. So I went to go see it and I paid the good coin. It was like $26. And it wasn't that many of us in there, probably because the tickets were so damn expensive. But nevertheless, I went to saw the movie. I was expecting that because I loved Ragnarok so much that I was going to go in and really get, it's not going to be one and the same, but it was going to kind of be that balance of, the 80s vibe with the comedy, Thor playing like the lovable dingbat. And then you have the cool action sequences. I don't know who gave Taika Waititi the ability to just go off the rails and do his own thing without any kind of pullback. I don't know if Kevin Feige was just I'm going to give you hundreds of $1 million. I don't know how much the budget was for this movie, but I'm just going to back up the Brinks truck and let you do whatever the hell you want. I did not like this movie, and I'm going to tell you why. I felt like you have these moments when you have Gore the God Butcher, played brilliantly by Christian Bale, by the way, who you get this seriousness of what happened to him, where the gods turn out he's worshiping these gods, and it was about gods for the most part because Thor is half a god. But then you look at the gods as turning out to be nothing but these disappointing assholes. So he gets this sword, and then he becomes like this most powerful thing. So then he goes around and starts killing all the gods to avenge his daughter, because his daughter died basically because he was trying to worship a god and do all this other stuff, and it's a whole long story. So then we have that, and so you get the serious in this, but the movie kind of tilts so far into the comedy, and the jokes weren't even that funny to me that it was just like, what the hell am I watching? First of all, I felt the movie was too damn short. It was literally 100, everything. It was literally shy of 2 hours. I felt like there was a lot of parts I was missing from it. They were talking about this movie is so gay and it's queer. Y'all are queer baiting. Just like, and this is the part that pisses me off about when people say things about queer baiting. How they try to say that, on Stranger Things, with Will, Byers, he's gay, but they won't really let him come out and da-da-da. Even though the actor, Noah Schnapp, who was just recently in a whole situation with Doja Cat, where he gained a bunch of new followers and she lost 200,000 because she a fucking idiot. But y'all want to sit up here and kiki and ha-ha and gag to her tired ass music. Which, in my opinion, I didn't find nothing wrong with what he did. So I'm just a little bit of that. How he went and basically leaked her DMs because she slid in the DM because she wanted to get with one of his co-stars. When I'm sure if you would have asked your manager or your agent or somebody with your camp, like, you're 30-something years old. You don't know how to use social media. Like, you don't know how to look up someone's name and see if they got a handle, an Instagram, Twitter, something. Like, everybody, well, mostly everybody. Look, even Beyonce got a fucking TikTok. It's like, you would have been able to find this dude or whatever the case was. But anyway, let's just get back to the story. So, just how in the 80s, I always said, like, if you weren't of that era and you didn't grow up in that time, don't speak on some shit you don't know nothing about. Stop trying to bring 2022 things into a 80s situation. People in the 80s in the Midwest was not just coming out letting they rainbow flag, wave it all around and burn bright, saying that I'm a homosexual. That's just not how it was in those days. In the 80s and 90s, nobody was coming out and being like, I'm gay and I'm happy and I'm this, that, and the third. Nobody was doing that. So I don't know where in their mind that they think that this was supposed to be a thing that you just need to let him do it. No, that's not how things were. So what the point I'm making with that was, I don't feel like that was queer baiting. That was really experience. That was showing like how the experiences of being gay in those times were, especially when AIDS was prominent in the 80s, and how people came down on the gay community. So wasn't nobody coming out trying to be like, oh, I'm this and I'm that. They wasn't. Unless you lived in a metropolitan area where you could let your flame burn bright, like in San Francisco or Los Angeles or New York City, any of the blue states. That's where people were more or less free and open to being themselves for the most part, with their little discretions. But nevertheless, they lived in the gay areas where they were expressing who they were and doing what needed to be done. But this movie, I felt like it was queer baiting. Okay, y'all threw Thor's ass up in there, which, don't get me wrong, I would eat that ass standing up. However, it wasn't enough to be like, okay, now this movie is so gay. Oh, it's dripping with gay. Okay, you had Tessa Thompson kiss a girl on the hand. Okay, so I'm not saying she'd be eating coochie in the movie, but for the most part, if y'all gonna talk about movies are gay and y'all trying to represent the LGBTQ community, like really represent and do it right. Don't just throw little crumbs that we're just supposed to accept it. This is why, for the most part, people look at television as more of the idea of we get to see true representation, because people aren't afraid to go there and explore those, especially as superhero movies. Superhero shows have pushed the envelope far more than Disney has. So I didn't particularly like Thor because I felt like it teetered too much of the comedy and there wasn't that balance. I just felt like y'all thought, oh, because it made so much money. And that's another thing too. This was the biggest opening for a Thor movie. 4 films. It made, I believe, a little over $140 million. So I think like between 140 and 145 million, which is great. But the real question is, will it be able to sustain that? Well, because this movie made so much money opening weekend, will people want to go back for a second, a third, and a fourth time like we usually do when it comes to superhero films? Like with me, the Batman I saw twice, Spider-Man I saw twice, Shang-Chi I saw twice. There's a couple of movies where it's like I've gone multiple times to see the movies because I like them. But would I go see Thor twice? No, because I feel like, okay, with those jokes and everything, I didn't find them funny the first time I saw it. So why would I go the second time and want to hear those same tight ass jokes until I get to whatever certain part? And even the action sequence, remember like in Ragnarok, how that opening sequence where he fought I forget what it was, because it's been a while since I've seen the first Thor. The big opening action sequence where he was in the cage and all that stuff, and then they played the music and all that stuff, the rock music, and I was just living for it. But then in this one, it was like y'all playing the same 4 damn Guns N' Roses song that you hear everywhere. So it didn't feel like it was creative. It was there was any sense of the imagination, like really pushing the envelope in regards of the jokes, the action sequences. It just looked like it was a step back. And I heard that Taika was talking about he wants to do a 5th one. I really hope Disney looks back on this and is like, you know what, let's go to, like, you can keep that balance of the funny and the action, but I think we need to go in a different direction with another director, because if y'all let Taika do what he did in this last movie and the next one, I am not watching that shit. But I am looking forward. I will say this. I did like Russell Crowe as Zeus, although Mama just needed him. She was a big bitch. But other than that, I did like him as Zeus, and I did love the end credit scene. I hope y'all, whoever's watching, didn't see the movie, because I am kind of spoiling things, but it's been out for a week, so you know. I'm hoping that I'm actually looking forward to seeing Hercules in some future MCU movies, because he was teased at the end of this film. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing that. But other than that, oh yeah, Natalie Portman, it was great seeing Natalie Portman in the movie as well. But how do you make cancer in a comedy movie? How do you make cancer funny? Like, she was dying of cancer, and she got Mjolnir, and it was helping her become, that's how she becomes Lady Thor, because he whispered that, to Mjolnir, take care of her always, blah, blah, blah. And then basically that's how she was able to wield the thing. And another thing, the special effects in the movie bothered me too, because it looked like it was unfinished. And the funny thing was, there's a video going around of Taika and Tessa Thompson making fun of the special effects. And there's also, funnily enough, a recent story that came out where they were talking about VFX artists are refusing to work with Marvel due to stress and unrealistic deadlines. And this came from The Gamer, where they did a whole article on it. If you get a chance, definitely check that out. I would like to do it here, but it's going to be a whole long thing, a breakdown, this, that, and the other, and I don't have the time because we got a lot of topics to get to. But it's definitely an interesting thing, because people are talking about how that Marvel is having them trying to reach these unrealistic standards of special effects and trying to meet these deadlines when it's just becoming overwhelmingly too much. And quiet as it's kept, there's not a lot of VFX houses to go around that are able to meet these deadlines. Not a lot of people are doing special effects. Special effects is a lot of work. It's time consuming. I remember when I was in film school, I didn't have the patience for it. Like, I literally, whenever I had my projects and I had to do effects and all these other things, it took so long for me to get, like, it would literally be, I'd be down to the wire of when I had to turn in my work, my final. It's basically what it is. It's the final. You have to film something, you put your stuff in, the effects, audio, all that other stuff. You got to, how you typically put a movie together. And me having to take the time to do all that, it was just nerve-wracking. So I can imagine what these people are going through. And then there was even a story that came out how Spider-Man No Way, the last one, I think it was called No Way Home. I don't know, there's so many. Those movies all had horrible titles. Good movies, horrible fucking titles. I got tired of him. He lost his home, went home, ran away from home, going back to the home. Like, is this always, why?
Anyway, fuck the rant about the home. But they said that they were still putting the finishing touches on the special effects while the movie was in theaters. So they put in a version of the film that was finished enough, but wasn't typically where they wanted the special effects to be. So they were doing another reel of the film where they were tightening the special effects. So when they put the film in theaters weeks later, you did notice a slight difference in how the effects were upgraded. Y'all can't be doing that. That's why, even though, the whole drama going on with Ezra Miller, I'm actually glad, I'm hoping soon they'll deal with that issue whenever they need to. And shout out to them, because I'm hearing that people are petitioning for Elliot Page to take over that role, which I think would be a good idea. That'll be another topic for another day. But that's why right now they've extended the, postponed when they were originally going to bring the movie out, and it's going to come out next year, because they want to take their time to really put in the special effects in this movie. And that's what they need to do, instead of Marvel over trying to beat deadlines or try to have 5 movies out in a year and then, 8 TV shows, 6 episodes, lackluster, and a lot of those shows have kind of been hit or miss with me. It's like, y'all only give them 6 episodes, heavily in special effects. The She-Hulk looked a mess. I'm sure they all working on that. They worked on Sonic. Remember when the tea about Sonic came out and he looked a mess, and then people were complaining, and then they went in and they made the CGI look way better. Hopefully that happens with her. But nevertheless, I'll just say this, because I'm just going on all over the place. Thor was cute to look at. Bright colors. I liked all the colors and everything in it. Great, visually pretty movie. Chris Hemsworth, yes, body yada for days. I love me some Tessa Thompson, but I thought she was wasted. It was great to see how they brought closure to his story with him and Natalie Portman, Jane. How Thor and Jane, they brought everything to a close. But I was just disappointed in the movie. So when y'all get a chance, which will probably be next month, and when it hit Disney Plus, y'all watch it. Let me know what y'all think, or if you've seen it, let me know what you think in the comments. But yeah, I wasn't feeling it. So let's move on to Ricky Martin. So I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple of weeks ago, and I wrote an article on it on chrisavalon.com, how there was a former manager that was suing Ricky for $3 million and was saying that he wasn't, he didn't pay her and for a bunch of other stuff, and how she said that she helped cover up a situation that was going on with him that could be career damaging. Then about 2 weeks ago, there was a story with that came out where there was a judge in Puerto Rico had issued a domestic violence related restraining order against the Latin pop icon. Now, the tea spilled yesterday when I was literally in the middle of putting the show together. Literally, my phone started blowing up in this article. I said, what's going on, Ricky Martin? So let me just look. And I was like, what? Now, I was shocked when I read it. But they're saying that the alleged victim's name has not been previously disclosed. However, according to Spanish publication Marca, Martin's brother, Eric Martin, claimed that the victim is 21-year-old Dennis Yadiel Sanchez, the singer's nephew. Now, under Puerto Rico's laws for incest charges, the sentence, Martin, 50, could spend 5 decades in prison, which means he could die in prison because he's 50 years old. And if he's convicted, he could spend 50 years in prison. So he's basically going to die in prison, because he already lived half his life. Now, the publication reported the complaint was made anonymously under Law 54, known as the Domestic Abuse Prevention and Intervention Act. Now, El Vocero, a Puerto Rican newspaper, reported that the order states Martin and the person who filed the complaint dated for 7 months. The alleged victim claimed that Martin didn't take their breakup well and loitered near the petitioner's home at least 3 times, according to the report. Now, Martin's attorney, Marty Singer, basically said, unfortunately, the person who made this claim is struggling with deep mental health challenges. Ricky Martin has, of course, never been and would never be involved in any kind of sexual romantic relationship with his nephew. Now, I will say this, because when I heard the article, I gagged. However, when I was reading some of the stuff, I don't know if I believe this. And I'm going to tell you why. I remember there were some people, I'm not going to mention no names, say, oh, he got a hot husband. You know, he's a good-looking man. Why would he do these things? Well, child, you can ask Trey Songz the same damn thing, because isn't he good-looking, allegedly out here doing the R word to a lot of women? So attraction ain't got nothing to do with anything. It's not even about sex. It's about power. So I did hear that the nephew has mental health problems and has had restraining orders put against him in the past by other men, or other people, I should say. So in regards of would Ricky, another thing that I didn't get is if Ricky Martin's brother's son, if this is family, why would I need to loiter near a home and stalk a relative? When, as this being my nephew, if I was diddling with my nephew, I would need to loiter. I would need to hang around an area to get to someone who was a family member, because a lot of times when we hear stories of sexual abuse towards family members, they can just easily slide up in the house. Nobody's looking, do your little dirt or whatever the case is. So why would I need to loiter around the house when I could easily just go up in there and do what I'm doing? That doesn't make sense to me. So this story, I'm going to wait and hear more about it. I think it's supposed to go to court in a couple of weeks. I'm going to wait until I hear more about this story before I jump to conclusions and believe whatever this story is, because people are so quick to be like, you know what? And another thing I've noticed too, I've never heard anything like this. Look, of all the years that Ricky Martin's been out, and yeah, there was always speculation about him being gay, which he denied majority of his adult career. I also didn't notice when I was watching the Menudo documentary how many gay boys was actually in that group. It's quite a few. And we're going to talk about that in a second, because I'm going to kind of relate this to this, because I was sitting there like, but then again, you know what? When I was watching Menudo Forever Young, the 4-part documentary on what went on behind the scenes of Menudo, from like the rise and the alleged emotional, sexual, psychological abuse that a lot of these young members faced at the hands of Edgardo Diaz, who founded Menudo, and basically ripped off all these damn people and took advantage of these people's kids, because he's violent and disgusting. I would kind of look at it in that way, because after I saw the documentary, it kind of gives me that idea of like, you know what? Maybe Ricky was touched inappropriately like a lot of these boys were. But we would never know, because they said that when there were certain kids that were put on a certain pedestal based on who did, who worked the hardest for Edgardo, or who was the most popular member, and how they were given certain powers and control over people when they were in the group, because he played that manipulation game. It would kind of make me look at it as like, well, if he was touched inappropriately by Edgardo, maybe he was kind of putting that behavior on other people. Also, why haven't we heard anything about Ricky doing this to other people throughout the years? Like, he's been out of the closet for what, a good 10 years? We haven't heard anything. Now, when it came to, and what irritated me, somebody wouldn't say, oh, y'all so quick to believe where somebody black does it, but y'all didn't, but y'all want to kind of give Ricky the benefit. Let's not always try to make shit a racial situation. Not everything is rooted in race. The problem with black folks is y'all like to deny shit, even when it's in your fucking face. So let's not do that. Because when the evidence was there for Bill Cosby, y'all still didn't want to believe it. The breadcrumbs was laid out. We saw it in the documentary. And then when you looked at old footage with him talking about quaaludes and certain things that he did to certain people, threw it all in jokes. Which we come to find out was how he was seducing and assaulting these women. We saw the evidence with R. Kelly. We've heard stories over the years about, people like Roman Polanski and Harvey Weinstein, all these people that are recently getting, the chickens have come home to roost. The evidence has been there in the eye of the public for a long time. Y'all just look the other way. Even when we saw the P video with R. Kelly, y'all refuse to just acknowledge that this is some shit that actually happened. Oh, y'all trying to take a black man down. Let's not do that. Because another thing that I noticed also when I watched the Menudo documentary, one of the kids who was abused, Ralphie, I think his last name was Rodriguez, went on a talk show. That bitch, Christina, you remember her? She was like the Latin Oprah. Yeah, that bitch. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm calling her a bitch. Because there was a woman back in the 90s, and the funny thing was the sexual abuse from Menudo the allegations stemmed back in 1991. Now, I didn't remember all of this because, I was like, what? An infant, pretty much. I was a child. So who remembers and knows all of these things or can remember all these things? So Carmen Jovet was someone who was very fair and balanced and did an expose and was like interviewing people and interviewed someone within Edgardo's camp or someone who knew Edgardo was selling a lot of the memorabilia, putting his career on the line, selling Menudo, memorabilia, because he was coming out and saying, and had to wear bulletproof vests on her show and everything. Talking about because Edgardo knew a lot of powerful people. He knew a lot of powerful political people. He knew a lot of people in the entertainment industry. And this also brings it into how Edgardo surrounded himself with a lot of pedophiles, a lot of older men, a lot of older men who were powerful and had a lot of money, took these kids to pool parties in LA where you saw a lot of young boys around and stuff, kind of similar to the whole Bryan Singer situation where we heard stories about him too. Yeah, this has been going on for a long time. And how this other guy that I know, one of the members of Menudo, Angelo, who I was telling you about in the last episode we did a couple of weeks ago, but somehow he was sexually assaulted. He was given a drink. He said he woke up, he was bleeding, his anus was hurting, and he had rug burns on his face. So he knew that something had happened. He just didn't remember exactly what happened. And how at times they would hear the kids moaning because there was some adult that they were having sex with. So this man was doing all kinds of crazy stuff to them. And how the guy went on, I can't remember his name. I should have wrote the name down because I wrote everything else down, but I just think to write his name down. But anyway, so he went on Carmen Jovet's show and basically was spilling all the tea, which Edgardo could have went on her show and pretty much told his side of the story, but he didn't want to do that. He wanted to denounce and say this is not true and so on and so forth. But he went on Christina's show where Ralphie, one of the former members of Menudo, was on there. Another member was supposed to go on, but apparently this chicken out and decided not to go. Something must have happened. So Christina was on there and pretty much showed what side she was on. She was team Svengali of Menudo. Basically made this little boy and his father like Boo Boo the Fool, try to discredit them. And even brought it to a whole situation where brought out the new Menudo group, because there was a revolving door of members in there. So it was literally like 30-something on members, if you count them all, that have revolved over the years. I think 2 of them died. One from a drug overdose, and I forgot what the other one died from. But Ralphie was on there, like putting his whole life on the line, telling his side of the story and telling what was going on in the group. And she basically was up there discrediting him, talking about he was in it for the money. I was like, how could you be in something for the money? You're not gaining anything from this by coming out and making these accusations, especially at a time in the 90s when nobody was trying to hear anything about sexual assault. Y'all were only trying to hear about this, Menudo was an institution that people looked at because of the overall racism that existed around the Latin community. they didn't understand that, you know, how can we make this sound work? Who listens to this type of music? So they would try to call them the Spanish Beatles because we always got to equate it with something white. But they didn't understand how there was these little girls from from New York City that were standing outside waiting to see this group, and the music industry didn't understand it. But I guess they understand it now because Menudo's trying to make a comeback. And if they're going to be doing all this stuff, I always say, parents, make sure y'all watch the documentary and know the signs of what y'all need to look out for should this shit happen. And it kind of makes me wonder, because I'm also hearing that Ricky Martin is going to be a part of this new Menudo relaunch. But with these accusations, because, you know, guilty before proven innocent, will they continue to go on with the show because of the accusations? Because you know how Hollywood is. Even if it hasn't been proven to save their asses, they're not going to want to do business with you. So Menudo is in search of a new beginning. Now, after a 12-year hiatus, Ricky Martin, Menudo's most successful band member, is looking to reboot the group with a global talent hunt led by pretty much the Latin Ryan Seacrest, Mario Lopez. Now, this July, Martin and Lopez are holding online auditions for children ages 12 to 16, which with live callbacks in multiple cities. Now, those auditions must upload, those who are planning on auditioning, I should say, must upload their submission to the Menudo app, which Lopez will soon be launching, as Menudo Productions CEO Paul Tarnopol explains. By utilizing social media, the metaverse, and AI, Menudo will connect with fans in ways unimaginable just a decade ago. Menudo is looking to redominate the Latin preteen and teen markets, but a new beginning, which will be the band's name. So they're not going to be called Menudo, they're going to be called The New Beginning. I guess because, like with the documentary, that name has been so tainted, and it mentions that too, that they call it MDO. I was like, child, you removed a couple of letters from a name is not going to change this, wipe away the stench that the name already comes with. But apparently people in Hollywood aren't that bright, so we'll just keep going. So they said will be the band's name vows to uphold the safety and well-being of its new members, promising shared revenue in all concert, merchandise, and record sales. And they're saying that because when you watch the documentary, they did mention that the members did not make money off of the concert, merchandise, and record sales. Edgardo made all the money. A lot of the kids were pretty much broke working in, you know, as part of the band. And how they said that some of them went from making $1,000 a show to basically $250. So they were constantly being ripped off. And it's kind of crazy. So yeah, make sure that if your kids are going to be signing up for this, get you an entertainment lawyer separate from these executive people in the industry, because they only think about themselves. Make sure y'all read them fine print of them contracts. Make sure that the kids are getting paid equally. And while I do embrace the idea of a Latin boy band, because I do think that with Latin music being the most dominating genre of music, especially with dembow and reggaeton and that whole genre of sound, with so many artists, Bad Bunny being one of the biggest artists on the planet right now, and Ricky Martin, you know, at full force within the whole Latin music thing, and him being a part of this show. And that's probably why he wasn't in that damn documentary, because he was working on trying to, you know, do something with Menudo. I think this will be a good show, but I'm going to look at y'all side. You know, I'm giving y'all a little bit of the side eye. I'm going to look a little bit, because, you know, with after watching that documentary and seeing everything that went on with that, it kind of makes me kind of look, yeah, it's making me look at y'all a little funny. So, I'm gonna keep an eye on the situation, and yeah, so I'm gonna keep an eye on this whole reality competition series and all this other stuff, and I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on this whole case with Ricky, because, you know, it's just a lot going on with that, and I'm hoping that it's not true. But look, these days with so much, I don't put nothing past nobody anymore. Like, I'm just cynic all the way, because sometimes you think that you know, or that somebody wouldn't be capable of doing something. You don't know. These people are crazy. People are crazy on these streets. It's like people have gotten worse post-COVID. That's what it seemed like. So let's talk about Wendy Williams, because there's a lot to talk about with her. And like I said before, I'm tired of talking about this woman, but it seemed like every week it's some new tea coming out in regards to Wendy and this damn talk show that is no longer on. So Wendy's ex-husband, Kelvin, is opening up about the end of her talk show and the problems he had with production being negligent to the famed media personnel and well-being. Shout out to the Jasmine brand for this story, by the way. Now, during a recent interview, Kevin Hunter opened up about his ex-wife's talk show and the internal struggles she had facing behind the scenes. He placed blame on the production company, Deborah Mercury, of course he did, and stated that they did not have Wendy Williams' best interest at heart. Here's what he said. He said, the show ended because of the negligence of her production company in regards to realizing how severe her health was. And when you're in a situation where you're just busy trying to divide and conquer and remove something instead of focusing on what's really going on. And you would think after that happened, they would have put certain things in place and some that from then they would put certain things in place in case it gets worse. Now here's the thing. I get what Kelvin's saying, but I think I did freeze. Hey Robert, am I back? Because I did notice that it was I don't know, it's like I'm having connection issues. But anyway, we're gonna pipe through. So, okay, I'm back. I get what you're saying. However, you're not going to blame all this on Deborah Mercury. You are equal to blame on this situation. When she had that infamous passing out situation when she was in the Halloween situation that had happened a couple of years ago when she was dressed as Lady Liberty and she passed out on stage. My purse, got the ass. Remember that? Ma'am, you had her go back out there and continue the show. You got this, because you were benefiting wholeheartedly. And we heard stories about how Kelvin was a nightmare as a producer. He was always steamrolling, verbally abusing her and stuff throughout the show, behind the scenes and between commercial breaks and all that other stuff. So I believe you're all equally to blame. I believe you're to blame. I believe production is to blame. I believe Deborah Mercury is to blame. Wendy was self-medicating. You was out here laying low and spreading wide with Sharina for over a decade. Got the bitch pregnant. And I get your whole situation with all of that. And she was self-medicating and doing all these other things and going through her mental breakdowns and dealing with her ailments and all that other stuff. But we're not going to try to act like this one ain't been a mess for a long time. And ma'am, there ain't no damn podcast in the works. I don't know why y'all trying to spread this lie. Will Selby out here trying to spread this whole lie that she's about to have a podcast. I think what y'all trying to do is put some fillers out there to see who's going to take a bite. Nobody's taking a bite. I don't think that Spotify is interested. I don't think Apple is interested. When you have certain people on here talking about they heard from the deep damn streets of Apple Music or somebody's giving them $100 million deal, somebody must have told you to say that shit so that when you get some sort of credibility, because I don't know anybody who's going to risk giving her a platform when she can't even formulate a damn sentence. She don't even know what a fucking podcast is. So how you going to do something you don't know what it is? And I remember Wendy used to scoff at podcasts back in the day. But now that she's currently unemployed, and she did a recent interview where she was talking on both sides of her mouth. We're going to get to that in a second. But Kelvin, I get, this whole situation, but you looked at your wife as a meal ticket and a workhorse as well because you were her manager. So for you to sit here and try to act like you're completely innocent in all of this, you're all to blame. I'm not just going to put this all off on Debra Mercury. Debra Mercury was messy in how they handled this situation because they were in crisis mode because she wouldn't come to work and all this other stuff because I guess whatever was going on with her. In and out of rehab, ailments, swollen ass feet. Where her feet was looking like the Elephant Man. Pretty much looking like she had fucking cobblestones made, cobblestone skin on her damn feet, holding her feet up on TMZ, not making no sense in both the interviews she did, TMZ and Fat Joe. And I'm sure y'all all know there's something wrong with that lady. I saw her recently out with Will Selby at the strip club and a couple other people, thinking she would, or was she trying to get on P-Valley season 3? But showing she like going to the strip club. Anyway, speaking of P-Valley, you know what? No, I'm gonna say that for the Emmy talk when we get to the LGBT portion. So Wendy, I love you dearly. I want you to get well. I want you to work on your yourself. You can retire at this point. You have enough money. Clearly, you got enough money. You had stacks of it at the strip club. So, letting them girls clap their cheeks, and you was feeding them well with them coins. So we out here talking about we broke and I can't get access to my Wells Fargo finances. Now she another one that need to be in a damn conservatorship because we all know there's something wrong with her, but y'all want to sit here and try to act like there's nothing wrong with her. But okay. So anyway, Nortman is opening up about the final days at the Wendy Williams show. Now, according to series longtime producer, details of the controversial finale episode were not decided by the production team. Instead, Nortman says the finale, which only included a video tribute that was 7 minutes long, was decided by people above him. Now, sitting down with a conversation with Carlos King, who in my opinion is coming up on Andy Cohen's ass. Yeah, he coming for your crown, ma'am. He was on his podcast, Reality with the King. This is what Norman said. He said, how do you feel when people say they hated the way the show ended and they felt like they didn't get the tribute they deserved? Nortman said the following. Honestly, it's above me. It's above me now. Why do I feel like that's something Candy Burris said in a song? But anyway, so he went on to explain the process on how the show's finale episode came to be. He said, I actually don't know what the process was, or I don't know anything about it. Honestly, there were eternal breaks about or eternal talks about between us, like what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, but those decisions are made above us. I wasn't really involved in the talk, so I don't really know exactly how it happened. He also said that, he misses his talks with Wendy and all that other good stuff. And I do think that he misses Wendy because, they had a big working relationship. Spending a lot of hours together, doing the show that they did. And when you're with someone for long periods of time, it's like, yeah, there's that dynamic that you're gonna miss, that camaraderie. But we have to be real and say that Wendy has not been the same for a while, and we've noticed the cracks in the kingdom for a long time. I remember when I used to do the Chris Avalon show, the old podcast on All Digital Radio. We used to always, after the show, me, DJ, and EJ would sit behind the scenes. My producer at the time, DJ, hey girl. We used to sit and do our little after show. We'd be on the line talking basically about, as Wendy Niestas, what is going on with this lady? Like she be messing up, she be forgetting names, she be getting her facts wrong. And so we saw it. I saw it for a long time. We all saw it for a while. We didn't know what it was. But now it's like now everybody's starting to notice. But I was bringing it up for a while. I've been talking about this for so long. Way beyond, this whole last season, this last year. So this has been going on for a long time. And we've been talking about it ad nauseum. So like I said, ma'am, I need you to work on yourself. And so I'm trying to make that happen. I would love to see a podcast from you. But, chill. I'm about to get to that story about her. How I'm glad I ate a while before I did this show, but Wendy told me she needs some dick. I don't want to imagine that. So Wendy did say that she is speaking out about the show. Why she was absent from the finale. She did an interview. Who did she do the interview with? And you know what? I feel for I actually feel for Sherry, because Sherry's not going to be able to do the show that she needs to do because of how Deborah Mercury went about it. Like, I get it. Y'all need to find a replacement real quick because Wendy wasn't coming to work and doing what she needed to do. So y'all need to find some people to fill in to keep the show going because y'all are under a contract. You want to keep all the people, the crew, the production, a lot of the people employed is still making a check, which makes perfect sense. But the way they went about everything is what bothers me. The fact of the matter that y'all stopped all her social medias, so the Instagram and the Facebook and all that other stuff, and the YouTube channel. You're giving all of that to Sherry, but y'all think y'all slick. So instead of letting Sherry try to build her fan base on her own, you think, oh, we're gonna suspend the Wendy Williams network, scrub it clean, put Sherry's name all over everything, but still have the same followers or those same numbers of Wendy now for Sherry. That's not how that works. So y'all setting this lady up for failure. And I did hear that Sherry's show is not going to be anything like the Wendy Williams show. They're working on doing their own thing. We'll find out when that shit airs in September. But like I said, I feel bad because the way Deborah Mercury went about it, y'all are setting Sherry up for failure. And I don't want to be one of those people that's like, oh, I'm not going to watch on the strength of Wendy, like Nick Cannon talking. Child, let me hold my thoughts about Nick. Let's just one thing at a time. So, let's play that clip of where you said you had the Norman one where I just read the whole damn thing and you had to clip the whole damn time, child. Okay, so let's play the Norman thing, and then we're going to go into Wendy talking about how she won't be fucked. Roll those clips, child.
Oh my God, it's so bittersweet. I'm so sad, but also so happy to be moving on to Sherry. But Wendy was the best. I will miss her so much. I'm gonna really miss working with her.
Have you spoken to her recently?
No, I actually haven't. I haven't spoken to her, but I'm sure she's doing well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Quick question: Is Wendy invited to this after party? Because we heard of the after party. Was she invited to actually come
I actually
today?
don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea who's gonna be there.
Oh, nice.
I just know I'm gonna be there and I'm gonna be tipsy. That's all I know.
I know that. One more question: When can we see Sherry? Is gonna be live, right?
Yeah, it'll be live September something. Mid-September. No, mid-September.
15th.
I think so. Is that news? Am I making news? Am I getting in trouble? Are you getting fired right now?
Well, we're excited to hear what's going to be new. Are you guys going to keep Hot Topics? Because Hot Topics has now been, or is that something that like Wendy owns? Or
No, I actually don't know what's going to happen yet, but we'll see. We have like the whole summer to figure it out.
I love it.
But yeah. TMZ, what's up, Harvey?
Want to a lot of girls at 57 don't care about excuse me, I'm gorgeous, can I maybe I'll go back on TV.
She said a lot of maybes. Girl, what are you doing? Like you said, you don't want to go on TV anymore because podcasts, you'll make more money doing a podcast. So which one is it? I just feel like both sides, like Wendy got two personalities in her brain and they fight with each other trying to say whatever they want to say and she just blurting it out. She don't know what the fuck she want to do. What she needs to do is focus on getting herself together and then you can worry about the business transaction. But at this point, no shade, But there are so many people, myself included, who do the hot topics, celebrity news, gossip thing better than you. Like, you've really been so out of the loop with really giving your opinion on stuff. And don't get me wrong, I used to live for Wendy's unadulterated opinion about celebrities. But if your mind ain't right, ma'am, nobody want to hear you just rambling on about a bunch of stuff.
Do you see this right here? Look.
Okay.
No, look closely.
Right.
Hold up, please. Hold up. I can't hold it higher. Do you see?
Yeah, we can see. Yeah.
Okay, do you see this?
Yes.
I forgot my train of thought because I got cut off. But anyway, for the most part, good luck to you, ma'am. You out here being a mess. And doing whatever it is that you do. Just focus on you. But I feel like you are in a situation that you just are being surrounded by people who are taking advantage of you. And I don't know who has a say in what it is that you do, but you're wrong. You're 50-something years old. If you want to get those cheeks clapped, ma'am, have at it. You're a lady. I mean, older women, deserve dick. But get you some. I don't need you telling us, but just go out and go get you some. So Nick Cannon is giving his opinion about will he or will he not support Sherry. So production company Devin Mercury had asked Nick to support the launch of Sherry, but he refused out of support for longtime friend Wendy Williams. And this is what a source to Williams, close to Williams, is telling Page Six exclusively. Say Nick Cannon would not endorse her out of allegiance to Wendy. He wasn't cool with how they handled him and how they abruptly canceled his show and hustled everyone out of there and took their computers and ish. Devin Mercury canceled Nick Cannon after just 6 months on the air, in case y'all didn't remember. And the former Mr. Mariah Carey said on his show that the brief opportunity was a blessing and dream come true. Now, an insider is saying that Cannon, who was 41, was indebted and grateful to Wendy for giving him a shot on her show, which ultimately led to his big endeavor. So the loyalty to her was undeniable. And they're saying that a production company is saying it's not true, and Nick was always a pleasure and business professional. Devin Mercury was definitely relying on Wendy's numbers to propel Nick's numbers, and they placed a bet with Fox once the network got rid of the reel. They assured Fox they would get the numbers, but they failed miserably. Well, I don't know what to tell y'all, but I wasn't feeling... Nick Cannon's show was horrible. I don't want to hear no so-posed heterosexual trying to talk about celebrity news and gossip. And a lot of the way that he did his show, I hated that theme song. Hey, Nick! Sound like it was just like one of those... Pied Piper type song, but you trying to lure not young girls, because that's like Pied Piper, they equated that with R. Kelly. But like one of those Pied Piper, the song was trying to lure women into taking their panties over, and then he'd be having like 75,000 fucking kids. Which, word on the curb is, he got 3 more on the way. I don't know what his man, child. Quiet as it's kept, I think what Nick needs to focus on, and what he need to play the allegiance to, is some magnums on that dick. You need to stop focusing so much on popping out babies and really learn about contraception and birth control, like doing that. There's a lot of people doing dumb shit this week. Between him with all these damn babies unnecessarily that he's making, Khloe Kardashian, dumbass, that lurch looking bitch, Clozilla, out here having a baby with Tristan via a surrogate. Mind you, he overseas partying with a bunch of white girls. Y'all should not be surprised by that. Instead of focusing on playing some actual ball. But this bitch thinking that by having another baby via another woman, having it for them, that's going to bring him back. Is this for a storyline for season 2 of the Kardashians? Is anybody watching the Kardashians? People still keep up with them? Because I don't. I just think that they just keep doing dumb shit every time I turn around. So if Nick Cannon wants to be loyal to Wendy Williams, that's his prerogative. I don't know what him not endorsing Sherry's gonna do. That just feels like some oh, well, we all black. But like I said, Nick Cannon's show wasn't that great. Wendy Williams wasn't coming to work. So you know what? When you're not coming to work, people got to do what needs to be done to fill your, your spot. We understand. We need the name on the person whose name is on the marquee to show up to work. And when you don't show up to work, what are you going to do? So, yeah. So I already said what I need to say about this. I'm sure more stuff is going to come out. I think at this point, we should just sit back and just wait for Cherry's show before we can come to, any kind of conclusions. But I know some people already done checked out and already made their decisions. It is what it is. Now, speaking of messy, let's go from live TV shows to live Broadway shows. So I'm sure y'all heard all this mess that's been going on with and how Beanie Feldstein is leaving Broadway and will be, and then Lea Michele will be joining the show September. One thing I did not know is that Lee shared the same agent. This is according to the Daily Beast, who found this out. Now, top agency WME's theater department, David Kolodner, declined to comment on how he balanced both actors in the backstage negotiations. The show opened on April 24th to scathing reviews. Now, the word is that Beanie did not have a great singing voice. A lot of the critics came out and was criticizing Beanie's voice. And Michelle's kind of been wanting that role on time. Particularly, let's not forget that she sang a lot of the songs from Fun on Glee. So it's kind of in the cards. When I first heard that she was going to be up for the part and she got it, I wasn't surprised. I was like, you know what? Because of the whole Glee situation, I saw that she was going to be into it. Also heard that Jane Lynch is leaving as well. And people try to equate it with, they didn't get along on the show, that she was a nightmare, and blah, 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 so on and so forth to work with, which I had heard all those stories. However, Jane is denying that that's the reason why she's leaving. However, I don't know. Now, this whole thing became messy because it was like Beanie, and I think she's out. Now, she's not performing the show now because she's having vocal problems. I guess she has like laryngitis, or I heard something that was going on. I forgot what it was, but I didn't think enough to write it down, child. But the thing of what I want to say about this whole situation is that it came across very messy. Instead of them keeping it behind the scenes, it kind of like the understudy revealed it on Instagram. And then Beanie felt that she wasn't being protected by a lot of people that's going on. And there were people that were trying to keep her away from a lot of the drama stuff that was going on behind the scenes. But people were talking. They were just like, her voice is horrible. People weren't feeling her. The understudy was stepping in a lot. And then they just made this whole like, we got a crisis control. We got to find a new replacement. And the way the production went about it was messy. So then they go and they just decide, instead of trying to do this whole transition, this proper transition, how they do in the theater world, they just blurted out and announced, Beanie's out and now Leah's in. And then I also heard that the ticket scales immediately skyrocketed. Now, tickets, I heard, are extremely expensive for the show now. Now, I know there were some people who worked on the black girl, I forgot her name, who worked on Glee. She came out and was like, she came at me and she traumatized me, and she, was treating me like, made my life a living hell instead of Glee. This girl ain't had a career since. I mean, I get that you had your issues with Leah. However, I feel like Leah has a new chance at life here. She hasn't been able to get a role since Glee. I don't know if she's done any theater since Glee. I don't think she has. But this is an opportunity for her to show that she has grown, she has matured, and that she is not the same person that she once was. So Lea Michele is going to make her debut on Broadway September 6th. They're not going to perform in the same show. Like, she's not going to be coming up on stage and learning there. They're going to have her some off somewhere else, doing the rehearsals, so that way she can understand or know what to do when she actually does it on the show. But they said producers were shocked in the moment, but not surprised by Feldstein's Instagram post on Sunday announcing her sudden departure from the show. The show source said there have been an ongoing conversation with Beanie and the team, and it hasn't been fruitful truthful and it hasn't been kind. As soon as Rory appeared about Leah, it got very contentious. She stopped speaking. Up until then, it was very much one-on-one. Anyone could speak to her. She had been very light and lovely and felt she had the support of the entire team. She knew we were all doing what we could for her. If not that day, then the day after, we were told we could not speak to her and go through her reps. That was the first negative shift. Everything went downhill very quickly after that. So if you really want to read this article, definitely head over to the Daily Beast. They did a whole breakdown of this. Of the thing where they were talking about how there were disagreements among producers after the negative reviews of the show came out. The Daily Beast understands that the minority of the producers want to eject Feldstein from the role quickly. A majority led by Friedman wanted to stand with her, which is what happened. Saying, I remember our meeting about ads for the show the day after the reviews came out. It was brutal. We went through what we could say. The decision was made to double down on Beanie and the joy and fun she was having. Now, it was crazy to say that given what had been written, but that's what we did. Another strategy was to say more like how Fanny Bryce Beanie was that Barbara Streisand had been. We found the few good things people had said, stood by her and kept going. Now, what they could have did was figured out a way to get her out of, exit her out gracefully from, the whole situation, but they were just a little messy. Now, I know there's been controversy around Leah, and Leah, in my opinion, is the better vocalist. She has the theater background. She's going to be able to do what needs to be done in regards of the show. And I know she has the reputation. This show is going to prove that she's really got to step her pussy up. She's got to show that she has changed, that she's not that same diva that she was. But the minute she has a little ounce of a moment and that shit get out, girl, your career's going to be over again. And you're going to be blackballed. So, Leah, you better be on your P's and Q's when you come back into the Broadway world and you're trying to make a name for yourself. No, don't cool it with the diva antics. It's the same thing like what I said, look, if they can give her an opportunity to come back, they could do the same thing with Will Smith, because I'm sure y'all heard that, Martin Lawrence recently did a thing with Ebony, and he said that even though they postponed it for now, there's still talks of Bad Boys 4. And I said, you know what? I feel like enough time has moved where this whole slap situation, we've all moved on from it. I don't care anymore. What is it? It's been 5 months. Well, when did the Oscars air? Was it February? Was it March? I don't know. They done moved it because of COVID. I think it was March. But anyway, it's been a long enough time. They could give it to the end of the year. Okay, it was April. So, it feels like it's been longer than that. So, look. Wait till the end of the year. Wait till 2023. We could have moved on well into that. They could film the movie, release it in 2024. And, it is what it is. But I feel like at this point, it was a little slap. It was the black on black crime, child. Yeah, it was a big slap. We've all moved on. I don't think this is one reason to just crucify a man's entire career when there have been people who have done far worse in this industry that y'all have given and still continue to give chances and opportunities to. So we can give Lea Michele an opportunity to revive her career after her diva antics 10 years ago on that tight-ass Glee TV show, then we can let enough time go by and let Will Smith do his thing and have his comeback. We ain't saying we gotta be like Armie Hammer and have him selling timeshares over in the Cayman Islands. Because what happened with that's what happened with his career. So good luck to y'all over in the Broadway world. Now, let me just wrap all of this stuff up so we can get right into the LGBT news, because we're already well into the next hour, and I want to get to those topics. So let's talk about Beverly Hills Housewives, because we got some housewives here, and then we can go and take this break. Now, I don't know if y'all been watching the current season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but child, these people that's on this season have worked my root canal nerve. I can't stand the 4 bitches of the apocalyptic Eastwick, and that would be Kyle, Dorito, dumbass, Kyle Bitchards is what I call her. Richards with a B. So Kyle Bitchards, Dorito, her fake ass storyline in regards of, the whole robbery. I don't think she was robbed. I think she is using this as a storyline because her fat ass husband is milking this shit for all it's worth. Erica Jane, who I do believe her ass is guilty just like her husband, but she's trying to distract by trying to get everybody who's you know, with a penis to fuck her and mixing prescription pills and alcohol. And who the other one? I said Kyle, Dorito, Erica. Lisa Rinna Dane hasn't really been no screen time this year, which I have this feeling that oh, hey, shout out to Now Hip Hop News, like Kris Avalon Unfiltered. Yeah, you know, I'm getting all the alerts. But anyway, focus. And then what else? Okay, and I'm not. And Lisa Rinna's barely getting any storyline this season, so I feel like they're trying to slowly exile out. And Diana, if they don't bring up these accusations about her being an alleged sex trafficker, you know, because there's a picture of her out there with Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, so I do believe that she was another Ghislaine. Y'all better check her and investigate that bitch. Child, you know what Robert says? Shout out to him because he gave me the tea about and I don't know if I'm gonna have time to use it today, but I'll use it for the next show. The story about Lady Gaga and the sexual abuse going on with the choreographer to some of the dancing, how a lot of her veteran dancers exited out of the show. We're gonna have to talk about that because I think the Chromatica tour officially starts today, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, he said if Halloween ends flops, I blame Kyle, and I guess we could add Jamie Lee Curtis, but I'll give you the rundown in DMs. Well, guess what? I'll say this: the Halloween fans are not watching The Real Housewives. Horror movie fans are loyal to the T. They ain't going there to see Kyle. They wasn't there to see her they weren't even there to see her in Halloween Kills. They weren't even focused on her ass. She was barely in the movie. She had like a couple little scenes and that was it. She was thrown up against the car by Michael, claimed he broke her nose. I think that was just a reason for her because she got a little check outside of, you know, the show on a movie set to get a nose job. But look, I actually said I hope she dies and ends because she is going to be a new movie. But anyway, so to give y'all a rundown on the situation, in a controversial scene from the Calamity Jane episode of the Bravo reality show, Erica was seen cursing at Garcelle Bouvet's teen son. Now, in another scene, which really got me all the way riled the fuck up, Kyle and Dorit and their husbands Mauricio and fat ass PK was seen laughing about Jane's behavior, basically saying that, oh, I'm glad that she did that. Yeah, okay. But if they would have did, and what I had said at the time, I said, okay, they're not going to do that to Dorit's kids because Dorit's kids are too young to have social media. However, Portia, who is Kyle and Mauricio's youngest daughter, has a social media, and I believe she is the same age as Garcelle's twins. One, the Jacks, who got yelled at. So I said, if they would have did that to her, you would not be saying this. However, days later, I had overheard that people were sliding into Portia's comments, DMs, whatever, and saying some of the most vile stuff to this little girl. Which to me, I feel like, okay, Kyle is a disgusting human being with the gaslighting and stuff that she's done on the show, especially in regards of basically like physically pushing and grabbing onto, oh my God, what is her name? Sutton. When Sutton was having a conversation with Diana about how she had 2 miscarriages, Kyle basically, another vile moment where she was like, well, you never. So I have to tell you every aspect of my life for you to believe it at the time that you've known me. You only know me for 2 damn seasons. So just because I didn't bring up something, and she's a Virgo. So I'm going to tell you a little something about Virgos. We let you know what we want you to know when we want you to know it. So we're not going to sit up in here and tell you our entire life story in 5 minutes. That's not how we work. If you say something and in that conversation there's a relatability there, I'll feel comfortable enough to share some part of myself that I've never shared with a lot of people with you at the time. I'm not just going to tell you because your nosy ass want to know my business. So there was that. And then also, let's not forget about how, you know, she's mixing the drugs and the alcohol. And then you had Lisa, who made the comments about Real Housewives of Dubai. And newcomer, and this was basically because Diana had rubbed fans the wrong way following a social media scandal where she basically was talking shit about black blogs. But let's hear you try to say that shit to E! News or these other places. So there's some tea. Mind you, the show is getting the high ratings. I hear it's the #1 show over on Bravo right now. So none of these girls are going anywhere. So in a Reddit thread, one fan noted, despite all the uproar, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills racked over $1 million views this week and had higher viewership than last week. Do we think this means the cast is unlikely to change? Fans reacted to a note that Bravo knew the previews would generate huge ratings, and that's true because I'm like, they're smart. What they did was, before the episode aired, and I don't think they've done this, as far as I can remember with this season, they basically released clips of the sneak peek of Erica cursing at Jax at Garcelle's birthday party. And what I'm hoping is Cherie, speaking of Will Smith, his first wife, is on the show now. And she's bringing the sass, which I'm living for. So when Garcelle can't go in and let have, which I've noticed, I want her to really go in. Because first of all, you curse at my son. Excuse me, bitch. Who are you talking to? Don't you ever talk to my child that way. I don't give a fuck who you are. I'm cussing your ass out. But I realize when you're a black woman, you can't do that. You have to show some sort of restraint. Otherwise, you come at them with the angry black woman situation. Also, Garcelle has a lot riding on her career right now. Besides the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which she is benefiting from, she has other things going on. She has movie deals that she has in the works. She has a production company. She's doing a whole bunch of other stuff that is, having her work with a lot of people. So she don't have to be like Lisa Rinna, who's desperate to just have any kind of screen time for a check. Or you have Erica selling $800, hit pieces of weave, clip-ins. Well, I heard it don't even come with the clip, because I remember when we were doing Drinks and Drag, Lindsay said she was looking at some of her hair, and first of all, she said it was overpriced, and you got to pretty much put it in your damn self. What if you don't know how to put clips in your head? So, a lot of these girls don't have a lot going on. Especially Dorit, but they keep letting that bitch come on every damn season. Kyle ain't got nothing going on either. So here's the thing what people need to realize. When you hate watch a show, that kind of helps along the way. So I don't think the cast is going to change. I say keep the same girls, unfortunately. And I think get rid of Diana because I feel like she's a one and done. And bring in Cherie, because I feel like Cherie is going to be the girl that's going to go in on these women when Garcelle can't really go and say how she really wants to say certain things at certain women, because, in the back of her mind, it's like she has a lot riding on how she comes across. Because y'all will punish someone of color quicker than y'all will punish a white girl. Well, anybody white. I hate to make it racist, but sometimes it comes across that way. Now, so I don't think anything's going to happen. Also, I had heard this whole shit about BravoCon, which is hilarious. But before we do it, let's get into the show. So congratulations to Portia, who has just signed on to do The Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Season 3. Now, she is replacing Tinsley Mortimer, who departed The Real Housewives of New York City in 2020 and stepped away from the Peacock spinoff due to unknown personal reasons. And this is according to People magazine, which broke the news. The next installment of Ultimate Girls Trip is set to begin filming in Thailand in 2 days, July 18th, with Williams, who departed the Georgia-based series in 2021. And Page Six has reached out to reps for Williams and Mortimer and Peacock for comment. The streaming service has yet to officially announce the season 3 cast, but Williams is expected to appear alongside Real Housewives of Potomac stars Giselle Bryant and Candace Dillard, and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City stars Heather Gay and Whitney Rose. Other cast members include Alexa and Marisol Patton of the Real Housewives of Miami, as well as Mortimer's former Real Housewives of New York co-star Leah McSweeney. Now, I will say this: if this is the roundout of the cast, I'm not feeling it. I feel like I would watch the show just for Giselle, Candace, and Portia. And I can see why I was like, Leah Alexia, Marisol, and Tinsley. I'm like, this got to be the most boring cast ever. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like the current season where they're at the Berserkers and Brandy being a mess. I'm living for this current season of the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. It's cute. It's not giving me cray just as yet, but these ladies got a couple of screws, especially when I just heard Tamra is going back to OC. So kudos to her and shout out to Portia, and I'm glad she's got another gig going. But I think Thailand's cute. It's a cute little spot. Anyway. Oh, let's talk about BravoCon. So when I heard about this, it made me wonder because I think when I looked at the list of people, I'm like, are they canceling the Real Housewives of Atlanta? Because none of the girls except Sanya is going to be there. And I'm like, huh? How you got a friend of going to be the representation of Atlanta? Why isn't Marlo going? Why isn't Kenya going to be there? Why isn't Candy going to be there? Why isn't Sheree? If anybody need to sell and make some money at BravoCon, it's Sheree. Who going to pay for the chateau? But anyway, so tickets went on sale yesterday at BravoCon. Well, I don't care what the website. Child, y'all can look that up. We not endorsing that foolishness. The reason why I brought this up is because the tickets go for a 3-day general admission ticket goes for $430. The VIP Bravoholic package is $825, and the SVIP Future Bravo Leb deal is $1950. Who's paying for this? Y'all got to be out your mind. First of all, DragCon was way more affordable than this foolishness, and y'all get way more interesting personalities than these old tired heifers that y'all got over at Bravo. They also announced that this year's BravoCon will feature 5 Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen tapings. I don't know anybody who still watches that show, but you know, Andy thinks he's a housewife and a superstar, but let him just continue to live the fantasy. They're also doing an Andy's Legends Ball, a show that will honor the most iconic jaw-dropping moments in talent throughout Bravo history. Sounds exciting! I'm sure you can hear the sarcasm in my tone. The network also confirmed that more than 100 Bravo celebrities are set to attend with over 60 live events coming throughout the 3-day weekend. Now, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills stars Crystal Minkoff, Dorit Kensley, Erica Jane, Garcelle Bouvet, Kyle Richardson Sutton, Strack will be appearing. Lisa Rinna was notably left out, which makes me think that they're pretty much exiting her out of the show. Salt Lake City's also got Heather Gay, Whitney Rose, Lisa Barlow, Meredith Marks, and her son Brooks is going to be there. Sidebar, because that's what we're in right now, right? Andy, you're full of shit. I'm not buying the fact that you were shocked and upset over what's going on with Jen Shaw. You knew what was going on, just like you know damn well what's going on with Erica and them. Like, stop trying to act like you so clueless and oblivious. You're an executive producer on The Housewives. That is pretty much your bread and butter. It's benefiting wholeheartedly from that one franchise. That's why you make so goddamn many. So for you to sit up here and try to act like you're so completely oblivious, you're full of shit. Jersey is going to have Dolores Catania, Jackie Goldschneider, Jennifer Aiden, Margaret Josephs, Melissa Gorga, and Teresa Giudice, along with their significant others, minus Giudice's fiance, Louis Ruelas, who, sidebar, Teresa's ex-husband, I've noticed, has been throwing shade at her fiance on social media. So clearly, Juicy Joe does not like Louis. Now, I don't understand how you ain't going to have nobody from Atlanta except Sanya, but you have Caroline with her sons, Albie and Kris is showing up along with Gia and Frankie Catania, you know, the fine one, Doris' fine-ass son. They're going at, you know, as a kid. So that makes no sense. But then that makes me wonder, is Caroline coming back to Jersey? Because that would be good. Like, we definitely need Caroline to come back and stick it to Teresa. All the entire cast of Real Housewives of Dubai is going to be there. Real Housewives of Atlanta, like I said, they said Sanya and Cynthia, who's not even a part of the show. So it's kind of got me wondering, like, are people not watching Atlanta? I mean, honestly, I will say this. I only watched the first 3 episodes of the season, and I really haven't been. The last episode, okay, I don't know. I could be wrong, but the last episode of Atlanta that I watched was when Sheree got stood up by Tyrone. That was the last episode. And now she's talking about, oh, he took advantage of me, and he robbed me, he stole me. No, you just a damn donkey. And I wouldn't be surprised if Tyrone's scamations helped finance the chateau. I would not be surprised. I better check and see where all that shit came from in that house, that furniture. Because she living like in Atlanta, like this is the lifestyles of the rich and famous. So I don't know. This whole BravoCon seems like a mess. I really want to know what's going on with Atlanta. And you know, look, to me, I always feel like y'all really don't support the black shows. Cause look, wasn't it what was it when we had the whole situation with Married to Medicine, that whole drama, and this girl signed the NDA, and you know the drama that happened with that. Then you got the current season coming up of Married to Medicine, and Atlanta Housewives had to shoot their own group photo shoots. Bravo wasn't even giving them money, but y'all love to back up the Brinks truck for all these other shows, but you're not supporting your veteran shows. So, you know, with all the stuff that Nene came out with, Nene was right. I do believe that what she said is factual. However, like, you know, with the racism and all that undercurrent bullshit that's going on, because we kind of see it, we've been seeing it play out over the years. However, like I said, with Nene and her lawsuit, right message, wrong messenger, and she played along and went along with everything because she benefited from it. Now that she no longer benefits from the mess and the shenanigans, now she want to cry racism. Now she want to cry being blackballed. I don't know how you blackball you on College Hill, the reality version. Excuse me. But anyway, you know what? We're done. Let's take this break. We got LGBT news to come up with. So we're going to play these breaks. I want to talk about the Emmys. I want to talk about RuPaul and his nominations. You know, this season they got, I think, a whopping 11 nominations between RuPaul and the spinoffs. We're going to talk about Bow Wow reacting to Orlando Brown saying he got some bomb-ass thunder. Trinity Tucker's basically opening up about All-Star 7, how they edit out all the negative critiques. And we need to talk about Q-Gate. So, yeah, there's a nightclub in New York City called the Q, and there's been some accusations of racism and things of that nature that's been going on. And we need to talk about that and a whole lot more. So don't go away. We're going to play this quick little gay break, and we'll be right back with more of Unfiltered. Y'all come back now. You hear?
Unfiltered, filtered, filtered, filtered.
years in prison.
When?
30 years.
When?
You'll be serving it now.
When?
As soon as possible, Mr. Kelly.
When?
Order.
Hold the music. One. Stay still, Johnny. One. Come on, this way. No, that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. West
Who are you
Series,
rooting for
Johnny.
tonight? I'm rooting for everybody black. I am. Betting on black tonight.
As my boy Wesley Snipes once said in the movie Passenger 57, always bet on black. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Where we actually go into our LGBT portion of the show, which I labeled LGBT, and the T stands for TEA, ma'am. So, yeah, we got a lot of tea to get to, bro. So let's get into this good old gig. So the first thing I want to get to is the whole Emmy nominations. Now, I was upset over the fact that, okay, so why wasn't P-Valley nominated? To me, I feel like it should have been nominated, and it wasn't. But, you know, especially, well, I know like they can't do it now because of season 2, but I would think they were doing like season 1, right? I would at least think that part, that they were doing the first season of the show, because we're well into season 2 and we don't have all the, you know, it's a little early to nominate people. Maybe they will next year. But what I was saying earlier when I was talking about the nominations is maybe is that they don't have a lot of people who watch those type of shows. Because to me, it's like, what this stems from is because I believe 50 Cent was upset that I think Bettina Wesley or whatever, she's on one of them power shows. You know, there's so goddamn many, I can't keep up. But she's on the current season. And or she's on the season of the show, and he was basically saying that why she wasn't nominated. And I'm like, look, maybe it boils down to, you know, who's actually voting and nominating and watching and all the other stuff. It's up to them at the end of the day. It's not, you know, it's beyond, or as would Norman say, it's beyond me now. I was looking for something, but it's like I can't find it. But I'm gonna find her. I'm gonna find it, bro. I'm gonna find it. But in the meantime, because I'm trying to find this Q story, so forgive me as I look for that. But okay. So the nominations came out, and we're going to get into what those are, which was surprisingly. Let's talk about the gay stuff, because honestly, I don't really care about all this stuff. So in the what is it? Okay, so JB was Smooth and Melissa Fumero, who, you know, once upon a time was on One Life to Live, and she wound up marrying David Fumero, who played Christian Vega on One Life to Live. That's her real life husband. That's why her last name is Fumero, in case y'all didn't know that. And then she went off and went on that show Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah, I know I like to give a little backstory before I get to this stuff. But anyway, so The White Lotus, Hacks, RuPaul's Drag Race, Yellow Jackets were all nominated. And so some of the ones that I saw: Outstanding Comedy Series, Abbott Elementary, Barry, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Hacks, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Only Murders in the Building, Ted Lasso, What We Do in the Shadows. These are a lot of shows that I know a lot of y'all a lot of y'all white folks like to watch. But honestly, I don't really watch a lot of these shows. Now, the shows I have seen that it's going to be a hard pick. Abbott Elementary is a good show. Hacks is a good show. Curb Your Enthusiasm, I ain't never seen that. Never been really into that. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, I actually think that's a cute show. Ted Lasso was actually a good show too. One of the actors that's on Ted Lasso was actually Hercules. I forgot his name in the Thor movie. What We Do in the Shadows, I hear, is getting rave reviews, but I've never seen the show, so I don't know. It's another Taika Waititi project. But Severance, I noticed, has got a lot of nominations. Or was it Succession? I believe was the one that was. Succession was the one that was getting all the nominations. Like every actor under the sun was getting nominated. And to me, it's like, while the show is good, it's not so good that everybody, every aspect, every person, even the extras is getting nominated at this point. So I'm not liking a lot of the nominations. Like, I feel like I'm gonna be bored. When y'all watch it, I'll just read the highlights and see what's going on. But I do like the idea that my girl Zendaya was nominated for Outstanding Lead Actress alongside Jodie Comer in Killing Eve. I've never seen that show. Laura Linney was a badass bitch on Ozark. That's where I really want to get it. Zendaya's won awards. I love her, but to me, it's between Zendaya and Laura Linney. Because this last season of Ozark, Miss Mama showed out. So they have alongside Melody Linsky from Yellow Jacket, Sandra Oh from Killing Eve, and Reese Witherspoon from The Morning Show. So, like I said, my picks are between Zendaya and Laura Linney. Outstanding actor Jason Bateman, Ozark, Brian Cox, Succession, Lee Jung-jae from Squid Game. I'm also happy Squid Game's getting some nominations up in here too. Bob Odenkirk, Better Call Saul, Adam Scott from Severance, and Jeremy Strong, Succession. Severance I haven't seen yet. I definitely want to get around to watching. I've heard so many great things about it, but everybody's so caught up in Succession. I'm just like, whatever. But what I want to get to as I scroll on down, because I'm not going to read all these, y'all can pretty much go on Variety, Hollywood Reporter if y'all care enough to look at all these other ones. But the one I'm really interested in is the reality one. So let me try to find that real quick so we can move on. Outstanding Competition Program. The Amazing Race, Lizzo's Watch Out for the Big Girls, Big Girls, Big Girls, nailed it. RuPaul's Drag Race, Top Chef, and The Voice. Now, it's kind of obvious that RuPaul's Drag Race tends to win every damn season. And Top Chef, The Voice, been around since before Speech Replaced Sign Language and Amazing Race. They still get nominated. But I would like to see Lizzo's show actually kind of get some love. So my choice is either RuPaul's Drag Race or Lizzo's Watch Out for the Big Girls. Everybody just loves RuPaul's Drag Race, so I can see that winning everything. Speaking of RuPaul, the iconic drag queen, yes, I do too, is opening up about his incredible Emmy Award nominations. So he's issued a moving statement on LGBTQ plus rights after RuPaul's Drag Race was nominated for 11 Emmy Awards. Now, in the wake of rollbacks to LGBTQ plus rights in the United States, including Florida's Don't Say Gay legislation, RuPaul said he was proud Drag Race would provide light, love, and laughter to the queer community. RuPaul wrote on Instagram, "As the basic human rights of LGBTQ plus people are being threatened once again, I want to thank our peers in Television Academy for acknowledging the achievements of the beautiful and talented souls that work in front of and behind the cameras of RuPaul's Drag Race. Through the miracle of drag, our spectacular season 14 queens have touched hearts and opened minds around the planet." Well, I didn't particularly watch it. That season felt like it went on for like 6 damn months. But it is what it is. We will never take for granted the platform we've been given to tell authentic queer stories and pledge to do everything in our power to continue to spread light, love, and laughter. And I'm here for it because, I love RuPaul's Drag Race and the 5 million spinoffs that exist on the show. Like, we still got more coming. Drag Race France is currently airing. Loving that with Nikki Doll. I believe next week, Canada Season 3 airs on Wow Presents Plus. We got another iteration of Drag Race coming out. We got next month, the Philippines one is coming out. So, the franchise is still growing. World of Wonder has definitely got their own network where they could just put so much content on there. Look, Miss Vanjie got her own dating show over on Wow Presents Plus. So the franchise is growing. It's provided a lot of jobs and a lot of opportunities for so many people behind and in front of the camera. So I'm here for it. And you know what? And also season 14 made history as having the most openly trans competitors on the show. I mean, some of them were out, 2 of them were out on the show. I believe some were coming out as the show was going on. Like Willow came out on social media. Carrie Colby was open about her being, you know, she was open about being trans. Cornbread was revealing her stuff about being trans. Jasmine Kennedy came out as trans. Like there's been so many women, you know, we've all had that. And Bosco opened up about their gender identity. So there's been so many that has happened with the show. And I love how, even though Rue has showed a bit of resistance towards change within the world of drag and that sort of, even though trans people have played a prominent role in the drag queen scene, I love the fact that we're starting to see so many different people who have different gender identities perform and compete on the show. So who knows, maybe we'll get some drag kings on the show. I'd be here for a girl. Okay. Moving right on, I want to see if I found the right one. I think I did. Oh yeah, I did find the article. Is he? Okay, so let's move right along. Now, speaking of Drag Race, Trinity the Tuck is opening up about an issue that we've kind of been, a lot of people have been talking about on social media, which is when they're watching the show during the deliberations, when the queens are standing up on stage doing the challenges, there have been no negative critiques. So Trinity is asked fans if they're enjoying the current format of Drag Race All-Star 7, which the legendary Legend stars are given out and no eliminations take place. Now, generally, she received mixed responses from fans and other queens. Now, one fan noted that a big problem with the All-Star 7 format is that the judges haven't been giving out any negative criticism of the queens, even when they arguably don't do that well. Particularly this recent roast thing that they did. Jada Essence Hall was messed up her jokes. A lot of them didn't land. She kept flipping her line, and she made light of it. But it would have been good to. I don't feel like people need to give like harsh, nasty, negative critiques for your entertainment. But what I am here for is the fact that if you're going to give criticism, it needs to be constructive criticism in a way that's going to help make the situation better for the people who are competing. Not just, I just need to be nasty for the sake of nasty's sake, how a lot of people are in the past. Like, I'm not saying y'all gotta go all Simon Cowell, but you can give a little something. So Trinity said they did give negative critiques, not sure why they edited it out. Which is very interesting information that we're getting. So now maybe the reason why they're doing it is because they would feel like, if you have winners on the show, they're all winners of their seasons, the respective seasons, that if you give any kind of constructive criticism, it looks bad on the judges. I hope this is not that fan service type stuff that y'all playing into. Like, to me, your job is to judge. And if somebody is not doing as well as they are supposed to, it's like, yeah, you worked to get to the winning, to the end of the finish line and you won your season. However, when you're going up against so many other winners, it's like, while I do like all the twists and everything that they did, you should still be able to give constructive criticism even when they're not, because we're human, we're not perfect. I'm not expecting everybody to be perfect. So you can't sit around and say, oh, you look gorgeous. So everybody did such a great job and nobody did any bad. Like, we don't need like 3 Paula Abduls and a guest judge. We don't need that. As you know, Paula never gave negative criticism when she was on American Idol. So that's where the reference comes from. So, I don't know. And I heard that they're doing All Stars 8 right now. I did post, I think on my Facebook, on who were the the rumored queens that are performing. I mean, that are on that season. I don't know if I have the photo. I would have to find it, and then when it comes out, I'll bring it up for the next time. But it sounds like an interesting season that's coming up with that. But shout out to Trinity, and I'm looking forward to this finale, which I think is going to be in 2 weeks. Great season, by the way. So let's talk about Bow Wow. So Orlando Brown did an interview with comedian Funny Marco, who asked if the actor had an issue with Bow Wow. He said, I ain't got a problem with Lil Bow Wow. Lil Bow Wow got some bomb-ass pussy. Yeah. I don't know where all of a sudden that came from, but it looked like it just started like a whole viral moment. Shout out to all hip-hop who actually liked, the show, because I guess they knew, well, I guess because with the hashtags and everything, we'll be talking about it. So the internet had a lot to say on the matter, and the chatter ultimately caught up the attention to Shad Moss himself, who was given high ponytail realness, if y'all saw that picture recently, who first paid the comments no mind. Since when legends got to speak on fuckery, Bow Wow tweeted out in a series of since-deleted tweets, I'm filming my new TV show as we speak and preparing for a sold-out show at the O2 Arena for the Millennium Tour in London. I'm a 35-year-old father. I don't play them type games. You do know this Bow you talking to, right? I'm a boy Damon. The fuck you talking about? Okay, so number one, what does you being a daddy got to do with the price of tea in China? Oh, well, thank you for wanting to know now. We'll play the clip and then we'll come back with my thoughts. Throw the clip. Even though I read it, but throw the clip so I can get a bit of context of the tonation, what Orlando said. Roll the clip. Roll the clip. Roll the clip.
Last time you watched 106 in Park?
Last time it was hot.
What's the weather? What's the weather today, y'all?
When Little Bow Wow was on there.
You got a problem with Little Bow Wow?
I ain't got a problem with Little Bow Wow. Little Bow Wow got some bomb ass pussy.
And he up in there crunching while he said that. Okay. Are you back on that shit again? Is he snorting that good old Fenty as a fentanyl? Like, what you doing over there, boy? Because Orlando looked like he a mess again. Like, I thought he was getting his life together and all this other stuff, and now he out here being a hot mess again. Like, what you doing? Bow Wow, you shouldn't have really responded to this. You should have just left it alone. Your comment that you wrote was just stupid. It made no sense. What does you being a father have to do with anything? Say, I'm a 35-year-old father. I don't play them type games. You do know this Bow you talking to, right? I mean, there have always been gay rumors about you for a long time. Back when we was on that Millennium Tour and you was hanging out with, who was it, him and Omarion? That there was a legend that there was some, fool-la-la going on between those two. So I don't get how all of a sudden now you trying to act brand new, like you ain't never had them gay rumors swirling about you. I'm not saying it's true, although I feel like there may have been some, bumping around between you two and many others in this industry. And that don't mean nothing. Just because you got a kid, that don't mean you ain't gonna be getting hunched by another dude. There's a lot of men out here with kids and girlfriends and things of that nature. And then what I want to get to earlier, I have to say there was some real master class of acting that went between Lil Murda and Teak. So I would have loved to see them get a nomination. Hopefully they will next year, because that was some great acting between them. So this is his tweet, and basically what he wrote and which has since been deleted. But you know what? I do think that he might be on that shit again. Like something going on with Orlando. Maybe he was never off it. So shout out to y'all. I'll keep you abreast of this story as if it develops. But I just thought it was hilarious. And I thought it was something that we needed to just jump in and talk about. So now let's move on from homosexual allegations to some transphobia between two. So in the aftermath of the Supreme Court decision last month to overturn Roe, the constitutional right to an abortion, Many celebrities have spoken out about what they see as a loss of reproductive rights and bodily autonomy. Then came Bette Midler. Shout out to the Washington Post for this story. The entertainer, in a tweet posted recently, wrote that women around the world are being stripped of our rights over our bodies, our lives, and even our name. They don't call us women anymore. They call us birthing people or menstruators and even people with vaginas. Don't let them erase you. Every human on earth owes you. The same day, an interview between media personality Piers Morgan, that troll, and singer Macy Gray aired, in which Morgan brought up the controversy over trans athletes competing in women's sports. This is what Macy said.
I will say this, and anyone gonna hate me, but as a woman, just because you change your body parts, it don't make you a woman.
That was my best Macy Gray impersonation, but we got her clip too. So in case you didn't understand what the fuck I said, let's roll that clip.
This and everybody's gonna hate me, but as a woman, just because you go change your parts doesn't make you a woman.
Right.
Sorry.
You feel that?
I know that for a fact. Like if you want me to call you a her, I will, because that's what you want. But that doesn't make you a woman just because I call you a her and just because you got a surgery.
Okay, so here's why I don't think you need to lump them, Bette Midler and Macy, in the same category. What Bette Midler was referring to was in regards to Roe v. Wade, that whole situation, and reproductive rights on women who, and she's a woman of a certain age. She's thinking about women who want the ability to birth, women's reproductive rights. She wasn't thinking about trans women. She wasn't thinking about non-binary, gender non-conforming. Like, I get it. The new world, new era, new world order, so on and so forth. Y'all always want to feel like y'all, you get mad when you're not included in shit. But this wasn't the argument. Bette Midler has been an ally for our community for a long time. This is not, y'all need to pump your brakes on that with her. Because she wasn't gearing her frustration at the trans community. I know y'all felt mad because y'all wasn't included in the story. And yes, I know not every woman who is assigned female at birth and identifies as a cis woman can menstruate, can have babies. Look at Khloe Kardashian, got herself a surrogate because, her dried up cootie cat is all, fucked up. She had issues with True, allegedly. She had a difficult birth, so now she's not going to go through that again. I guess because she paid too much money. She paid Dr. Miami a whole lot of money for that body. I don't know if that was her doctor, but that's the doctor that popped off the top of my head. Big old, she paid a lot of money for that body, so she ain't gonna fuck that up again with another infant. So hire a surrogate. If you got the money, why not, right? So I think that's where Bette was going. This was a whole nother conversation. Macy was gearing her situation particularly at trans women, which came across as transphobic. She said, I will call you a her out of respect, but I don't believe you're a woman. And I saw people was getting up in arms about it. Like them bitches over at Cocktails with Queens. Especially Lisa Ray spreading trans lies and stuff on social media. There was another video of something that she posted on her Facebook page talking about, who was it? That she said was, Frank Ocean's transitioning because he had on a wig or whatever the case was. I don't see no evidence of that. So you posting lies and shit up and making me look at you as possibly you got a problem with trans people. Don't get me started on Vivica Fox. That fucking bitch. Well, I got beef with her on account of someone who I know very closely. His mother was married to Vivica's father, and she accused my friend's mother of murdering her father. Yeah, this is a true story. So, fuck Vivica and them dusty ass wigs she be trying to sell. That crazy bitch who couldn't get a job at an envelope opening. Fuck that bitch. And the rest of them over there. And usually I like Selena Johnson, but what she was saying was just stupid. Oh, well, she has a right to say what she want to say. And they're absolutely right. People have a right to say what they want to say about people when it comes to certain situations. But there's a fine line between you giving your opinion and what you're saying is downright ignorant and hateful. And to me, I don't feel like the situation what needs to happen is we need to blacklist people, we need to cancel people. To me, I don't believe in cancel culture. I think it's stupid. I think it's ridiculous. People have a right to say what they want to say. However, when you saying some shit that's ignorant, you need to call that on it. And I know we hate, but sometimes we got to educate people on some of the shit, you know, the ignorant stuff that they say, unfortunately. So, like I said, with the whole Macy Gray situation, I just feel like Macy is a mess for what she said. But Bette Midler, I just feel like she misspoke. And it was just stupid what she said. So we still have a long way to go in regards of equality and having to constantly fight for our rights in this world. And we just got to let people know that it's like, you know what, you can say what you want to say, but if you're going to say some dumbass shit, your ass going to get red for it. So, okay, so we got 10 minutes left, so I want to get to this the Q story. So I don't know if y'all heard about what's been going on, but shout out to my friend Michael Cook. I was going to do a whole thing on it, but Michael Cook, who's a friend of mine who writes for Instinct magazine, did a whole expose on it and everything that was going around, because I had heard stories from Frankie Sharp was talking about the day that he was unjustly fired from the Q over some changes they were trying to make. Like, he was bringing in a lot of people. I used to go to a lot of his parties, especially oh my god, this is why I needed to write it down. I used to go to a lot of his, you know, he did a lot of like the club kid parties, like Amanda Lepore. A lot of the legendary people would actually go to his parties. And I used to frequent a lot of Frankie Sharp's parties. He definitely knows how to throw a party, bitch. Trust and believe. And he gets a lot of high profile celebrity guests to perform at his events, his venues, wherever he's at. A lot of people follow him. He has a huge following. So the Q, which is like this multi-level nightlife mecca that's in the center of Hell's Kitchen. I remember when there was a big story that, you know, it was coming out with a lot of famous people such as Jake Shears, Billy Porter, Charlie Carver, and Zachary Quinto were coming on as investors. Bob Fluitt, Frankie Sharp, and Alan Pikus are owners, but Bob Fluitt and Alan Pikus were trying to push out Frankie. They let him on, was trying to get him in according because of the clientele that he brought in, and we're trying to push him out because they wanted to go and make the venue more white centric. They didn't want urban nights. They didn't want, you know, all the other stuff. You know, he spoke a lot about it, and I'm going to break all of it down. But if you want to read it, definitely head over to Instinct magazine to read all the articles. There was at least 4 articles he was writing on this because so much was coming out. So basically we're saying that the management split behind the scenes, coupled with an officially filed lawsuit alleging a myriad of bad business practices, is threatening to topple the Q from the top of the New York City nightlife heap. The nightlife venue that Sharp previously promised me during the conversation with I Feel It Look Like New York Does a Space for Everyone is now at the center of a myriad of accusations consisting of discrimination, massive management turnover, and allegations of drugs being permitted through the doors of the Q. Documents filed in Supreme Court of the state of New York on June 10th, 2022 detail allegations direct from Frankie Sharp against his now former partners Alan Pikus and Bob Fluitt. Sharp's allegations stem from an at-will clause that he alleges was added to his employment contract that was not explained completely. The public court papers go on to state that Sharp alleges that Pikus told him to make sure your Latin nights are the good kind of Latins, not Latinos. Sharp also alleges that during an interview for a potential bar manager candidate, Pikus allegedly told one candidate, "I don't need to break my back to hire people just because they're black and trans." A complaint could be read look, the whole thing is, like I said, over on Instinct. So if you want to read the whole complaint, it's there. None of what I said, Pikus did not speak about the allegations, but no comment came from Frankie Sharp. But Frankie has spoken. And here's what he said, because well, you know, and then the Q bunch of bullshit, and then they removed some people's comments in regards of what was said. So, you know, if it was anything negative, including my friend David Laugh, who actually did photography for them at one point. So I should say, before I get to David's comment, Boomer Banks, Richard Cortez, Greg Skarnicki, and Los Angeles drag dynamo Ria Letre all showed their unyielding support for Sharp in the comments from what he wrote, which was this. And it's a lot. So I'm just going to read a little bit of it. He said, I was, in a word, gaslit. The deterioration of the corporate culture at the Q did not happen overnight. These things never do. I must presume that all the partners at the beginning had to keep me compliant, at least long enough to acquire ownership of my intellectual properties, my credibility, access to my celebrity investors, and entry into my social network. Once through a financial success, and the partners believed their behavior swiftly darkened. I was frightened, diminished, silenced, and intimidated, but ultimately just deeply disgusted by the circuit on my club. I was then chiefly worried about protecting myself, our community, and our celebrity investors before something calamitous unfolded at the Q. When my last desperate ultimatums were ignored, my final and only resource was in the law. My friends and investors support me in this legal action and this doomed collaboration. They are blameless in all of this, and I'm confident that the law is on our side. It's 6 pages that he wrote of a thing on Instagram. Definitely go on there and check it out. Neon Calypso came out with something called a New York City QTPOC nightlife caucus meeting that they're trying to put together. I think it happened already because it was posted. I don't see where it is on this page. I don't have time to open that. Podcasts like By Latin Men Mine and the Adam Sank Show are going to be discussing it or discussed it already. And let's not forget Honey Davenport. They posted about allegations on Instagram, which, if y'all don't remember, Honey Davenport on live on camera quit. She actually quit working at the Monster due to allegations of discrimination. I was there when she did it. It was myself, it was David Laugh, it was Mick Jagger. We were all there. Also, her manager, I don't know if he's manager still, but her manager at the time, oh my God, I'm forgetting names. But anyway, he's a DJ and he mixes a lot of the drag queen songs and stuff. Mitch Farino. I'm like forgetting names because I know I'm up at the wire at this right now and I'm trying to get all this out. We may have to go over just like a good 2 minutes so I can get to all of this. But anyway, so my friend David Laugh went and said something about this, and I wanted to post it. They removed this comment, by the way, but and we had a conversation on the phone where he was talking about it. He was like, "Oh, they removed my comment that I had written." I was like, "Yeah, but I screenshot it and I sent it to Mike, and he posted it on the page." Saying this, as a person there, I was told to take pictures of only beautiful people by Alan when I really knew that his focus was only shoot white men with abs or people he deemed fuckable. It goes beyond hiring a person of color so it can look good. It matters in your practices. There's too many clubs in New York City where this has happened. As a QPOC, I was let go from a weekly Friday, Saturday night gig at the Q based on something someone white said. It looked bad for business, and I was asked with no question. How many people of color have been dismissed from a job because of their white counterparts? And this stems from an accusation that I knew about for a year because David told me that there was somebody who said that they were assaulted by someone, and they said that David laughed at the situation, which David laughed at the situation when he didn't. So they were saying he gaslit the situation, and instead of them investigating the situation, they just fired him. Now, the Q has said that they are going to try to make some changes, and I'll believe it when I see it. However, last week when y'all posted this shit and I screenshot it and I posted on social media, this ain't it. So, Luis Fernando, who is now the new manager over there, posted, "This is my personal attempt at creating a sliding scale for the communities within our community who have historically been disenfranchised or are currently low in resources. I modeled it after the party Poppy G, a party I respect so much and I know a lot of people in our community also respect." So what he did was free entry for people who cannot afford entry. That was basically created like these tiers. Members of QTPOC will have to pay $5 plus a 2.10 fee. all attendees $10. So you get to choose 3 tiers. People dragged his ass. So like, this ain't it. So basically, you're trying to make it seem like people of color, we ain't got no money, like we can't afford to come into your venue. You have a 3-4 nightclub. You don't get to basically choose how you want to run your establishment. Now, only white people are going to come up in there and support your shit. When you have, especially, a lot of bills to pay. And I'm sure your taxes is crazy on that venue. And what's going to happen is you're going to end up like the Out New York City, who went through the similar thing and they wound up closing down because I want to sit and discriminate. I continue to think that people of color are an issue within the community when there's so far more that's going on with that. This is why I always say, let's stop supporting a lot of these white establishments, and we need to invest in Lambda Lounge. We need to invest in Next Harlem. We need to invest in a lot of these Black-owned establishments. I don't even think Lanx is around anymore, but we need to basically invest in our people of color, queer people of color who are creating spaces for us, and stop trying to look for support for these white companies. I know there's one that came out called Verse. I definitely want to check that out. But the discrimination in there is too far between, and especially when we're a place of diversity, this should not be going on. But then I also heard that the attorney that, you know, the people, you know, Pikus and them got is basically we're representing Roger Ailes and Giuliani and all those people. So you can see what type of people these are. I'm going to keep abreast of this. It develops. It's a lot with it, and I don't have a lot more time to really break the story down. But I hope y'all got the gist of it. I hope y'all got enough story, and definitely let me know what you guys think. If you have been going to the Q as of late, has it changed? I know a lot of people, Keisha Carr, a lot of drag queens, a lot of performers have pulled their shows out of because they just reopened Boxers, a new location, and they have another location. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but they own like 3 little spots in Hell's Kitchen. And they basically pulled a lot of their parties out. But definitely check that article out. It's on Instinct, and support my fellow journalists out there. But anyway, since we're past our 2-hour mark, thank you all for who are sitting here tuning in and watching this show. Love you all for watching. And then see you guys next week on another brand new episode of Kris Avalon Unfiltered. So until next time, ciao, darlings.
Unfiltered, filtered, filtered, filtered.